There you go. There's all your waves.
I think I don't
Sorry.
think my iPad and my
All right. Well, let's not
contact
worry.
on my
I'll be
phone
I'll be back into them and back to them and let them know we had a snafu, and then
There you go.
we'll try to get them signed on next
I
time.
think I don't
Sorry.
think my iPad.
Mhm.
Well, YouTube works.
Okay.
Well,
I was
we do
wondering
have
what
one
that delay was.
Yeah, that was a YouTube stream going that
I
it's
should just
about
go
7 seconds late.
maybe I should just go to bed right now. It's been one of those. It's been kind of a week, and it's what, Tuesday? Okay.
Tuesday. What? It's the
Yeah.
first day of the week. It was a holiday.
Yeah, right.
That really messes it up, the holidays.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, there is
I
a
will-
new member right now, Ray Pan. He made it to our meeting tonight.
Well, welcome, Ray. You have to turn on your speaker. Oh,
Oh,
there you go.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome, Ray.
Glad to have you with us.
Oh, he was at Digital Forum. That's okay. I
Correct.
knew he looked, the name and face looked familiar. And that was just last Saturday, right?
Correct.
Holy.
I
cow.
guess, yeah.
All right.
Well, Joe, it's 7:03. YouTube's going. You might as well get her
Kick it off.
started.
Well, I thought we'd have a bigger crowd, but I guess the holidays have taken.
Well, we have
Some,
20, we had 28 people
Mm,
that registered. So that's why I sent out another email today to everybody.
Okay.
Because a lot of people I didn't realize that I had stopped the Zoom repeating meetings at July. And once it's stopped, it just gets rid of everything.
Oh,
So we had to redo everything over. Otherwise, sometimes I can just add on to it. But
all right. Well, I've got a fairly nice agenda for the evening, and we'll just start going through some of it. You are probably assuming, because we're having a Zoom meeting, that we're going to have this all year long. Well, we're going to have it all year long. I think it's really worked out quite well. We debated whether or not to go back and have some in-person meetings, but there's all kind of complications with the virus and the location and Jeff's ability to provide all that equipment on a regular basis. So at least for the next 9, 10, 12 months, this is it. We did talk about at a planning meeting a month or so ago about a possibility of having a couple of get-togethers, informal, not really a photo meeting, but at least the ability for the group maybe to come together and have a snack or share a beer or a glass of wine or something of that nature. If that's something you guys want to do, I'm going to ask a question. Any volunteers to help with that? Well, if not, we will see what we can pull off here. Maybe a winter meeting, a get together, and maybe a late spring get together. If that's something we can get a group of people that would like to participate in that. And I would welcome any volunteers that would like to lend assistance in making that happen. If not, we'll proceed. We have an announcement to make about a couple of individuals within the club. They're recognized in the newsletter on page 7. We have Ellen, who I believe got an honorable mention in a small club newsletter event with the PSA. And then, of course, Jeff he not only got an honorable mention for his digital forum, but he got a first place on his In Focus newsletter. I've done newsletters in my younger days, and let me tell you, they are a lot of work and time and effort. And these two individuals do one heck of a lot of work outside of these meetings to make those newsletters happen. So if you're not fully cognizant of what those two put into it, please recognize them. And if we could pat them on the back right now, I'd reach up and do it, but a little too far away. So I'll just give them a good round of applause. Thanks to both of you.
Well, I think the newsletter is just outstanding. I really like it.
It is
Oh,
very true.
It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yep.
Ellen, I know you must put in a lot of time on that thing, and
Yeah,
you guys are much appreciated. To
It
say
is
the least.
appreciated.
Yeah.
I figured that much. I enjoy doing it, but at times it's like making sure my links work and the little tedious. So please forgive any misspellings, and because my husband's a terrible proofer. So I
Well-
have to rely on spell check, and that's not always the best, especially if the word is correct, but not the one I want to use.
Well, just know we appreciate what you guys do and what you put into it. It's
Jeff's
something
been
really out of the
doing it
ordinary.
a lot longer than I have. So,
Yeah.
and he's got 2 of them under the belt.
We've got somebody else recognized in the newsletter, and that's Patty Grinley. It looks like she won some special recognition with Scott Kelby, if you know him. So Patty, you want to take a minute and tell us what that was all about? Patty, are you there? I think I saw her earlier.
You're muted, Patty.
Patty.
Trying to find my mute button. I do this at work all day too.
Okay.
We have meetings now. We had somebody have all 3 of her kids came down with COVID. So
Oh,
yeah,
so tell us about your recognition here.
okay. Well, a while back on Kelby One, they have a Kelby One community area on their website, and they ask people to submit photos, with the opportunity of, getting like major recognition and maybe win some prizes and stuff like that. And needless to say, my photo didn't win. So, I was like, okay, so then late, when they announced the winner, I saw that I had an honorable mention, and I'm like, well, that's nice. So I didn't think anything more of it. They had sent me a email with a questionnaire, and I had like a limited number of characters I could type in to make the answer to keep it brief. So I, some of the things, rather than expanding on how I deal with failure, I just kind of put out the smart ass answer, that I buy more gear. But anyway, when I got the honorable mention, I just kind of like, well, I didn't win, and I just kind of, forgot about it. Well, then one day my Instagram page blew up, and all these people that I didn't know were congratulating me on my Member Monday recognition on the Kelby One website. So every Monday they publish, a photo or photos taken by one of their members, and they do a little article about them, and so they glean the answers, from the questionnaire to write the article. So I was featured on Twitter and Facebook, and on the front page of the homepage of the Kelby One site with my photograph. And so, that was kind of nice. I kind of compared it to like when an actor sees their name up in lights for the first time, you know, it's like, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of cool.
You're on your way.
So I was, it's nice to get that little bit of validation, you know, when you try so hard and,
Right.
you fall flat on your face most of the time. So it's, it's just, it was a nice feeling.
Now, other than that recognition, do you get to go to a free seminar or anything?
Heck no.
Well, that's too bad.
No, once in a while they'll let you have like a free Kelby ebook of your choice or something like that.
Okay.
I got that for the Worldwide Photo Walk because my photo was selected out of my particular walk to represent the group.
All right. Now, the picture itself, I've seen it. What kind of modifications did you do to what came out of the camera, if any?
Not very darn much. I just do pretty much everything in Lightroom, and I have a habit of underexposing everything so it looks like, just a little darker. If I was a guitarist, I would be playing minor chords all the time. It's this same kind of thing. I just like the feel of that little bit of darkness in there.
Okay.
But yeah, I sat down on the floor. Those God, what kind of plant was that? Anyway, the flower that I photographed was down hanging on the side of a table, and I had to sit on the floor to photograph it.
So was that a fuchsia? A fuchsia?
Yeah, fuchsia.
Fuchsia, yeah.
Yeah. So I had to sit on the floor, and it was kind of dark down there, and when I took the picture, but I really liked the light that it had on it. So mostly what I do is, I pretty much do a lot of contrast, maybe bring up the shadows a little bit, usually increase the, gosh, I can't think when I'm on the spot like this, but just basic Lightroom adjustments, nothing fancy.
Well, I think it turned out rather well. It looks great on the website and when you posted it. So very nice.
Well, thank you.
Well, we expect to see your face on another Monday, right?
You never know.
All right. Well, let's move on. Jeff, can you jump in here? We were talking about the photo of the month at the rec department. Can you tell us what that represents and what we need to do with the one that we used to post every month over there?
Sure. The photo of the month is a display case at the rec department. It was on the way to our old meeting room. It can be up to a 16 by 20 print and as small as an 11 by 14. So anything in between. And we can now start using it again if we want to. We haven't changed the picture since we went out in COVID. So whatever's up there, and I got to admit, I haven't been up there for probably a year. I meant to get over there to check, but I just haven't been in town to be able to take a look and see what photo is actually there. We might as well start it again, but we're going to need to find somebody that's willing to put it into the display. And the picture does have to be not matted, but has to be on a board. Generally what we did was we put onto the corner the person's name and the title of the photo.
Jeff, what are those sizes again?
11 by 14 to 16 by 20.
16 by 20.
But no bigger than 16 by 20.
A board, like one of those foam boards or something?
Yeah, a foam board, something light, because it's just Velcroed up there.
Okay, thank you.
So is that case locked? I mean, what would you need to do to put it in?
You have to go to the rec department office and get the key. And then, and I can't remember whether it's hook. I think it's the hook that you, Velcro that you put on the back of the board so that it will stick up. We have a bunch of Velcro in the display so that it will, you know, hang there and for various size pictures. And I can supply the Velcro. I just have to look again. Bill
how do you-
used to do that all the time.
How do you think we ought to proceed with this?
Well,
We're
we
gonna
should,
need a volunteer to tackle this, to say the
right,
least.
and we need people to sign up for it. If we don't get enough people to sign up for it, then I can just tell the rec department that we're not going to use the display anymore. I believe it's still there. I meant to contact Jason, the rec department guy, and I haven't had a chance to do that.
Okay.
But the rec department is open now, so now we can get in there. So we might as well start putting a picture up there. And I want to update it a little bit because we might as well put in there that we're meeting virtually for the next year and try to get some advertising that way. So the rec department has no problem with us being virtual. They're happy just as long as we're sticking around. So,
All right.
I get
Well,
to
this-
the,
Go ahead.
Jeff, any, how do the photos get to the person displaying it? Because I can get over there. I live very close.
yeah, the person has to either mail the photo or deliver it to your house.
Yeah,
And that's
'Cause I-
always the trick.
I'm less than 5 minutes away from there.
Yeah.
So,
So we would just have to figure out how people would get the photo to you. You know, that's why it would be good if we could sign up a whole bunch of months. It wasn't bad when we were in person because then the person that was going to be the next month would drop it off the month ahead. And, you know, then we would get it put up. But this sort of fell apart after Bill passed away because we just weren't getting photos in. And well, actually, I guess really before Bill passed away, we went into COVID. So I think I've got 1 or 2 pictures floating somewhere from people that I probably could use. But
Ellen, do you think you could put a section in the newsletter by month where somebody could pick out a month and then communicate that either to me or to Pat or Jeff, and then we'll see who signs up for whatever month. And Pat, if you're willing to be the recipient, I think that'd be a great idea with you being so close anyway. What do you think, Ellen? Maybe she ran upstairs and
yeah, she maybe ran to do something.
I don't see her right now.
One idea, Pat, is, you know, if you're on a field trip and if people want to drop off, you know, maybe I'm just going to pretend like my photos in like 3 months, I could just drop it off with you at the field trip because I know I'm going to see you there. You know, it's just something people can keep in mind.
All right. Does anybody want to be the first volunteer to get a picture up? How about that?
Well, my other question is, I wonder if Pat has to go and pick up that key, if the office wouldn't receive the photo.
Ah,
Yeah, if they wouldn't hold it. Where is the office? Is it in that same building?
It's right by the front door, but I don't know, for them to protect it and hang on to it,
Yeah,
I don't know if that would be a great idea.
yeah.
I think it would be better if one of us can, you know, get it. I I mean, I'm happy if people want to get it by me. I'm here more than I'm anywhere else. They could certainly drop it off here, and I then can work out a way to get it to Pat. And if we can work a few months ahead, then, you know, we can try to do that, you know, have a couple months going. So.
Jeff?
Jeff, did you say you had a couple of photos that you had gotten from Bill?
I have, I think I may have one. I can't remember if I delivered them or not, back.
I know I had given him one for display and it never got displayed. So I don't know
Okay.
if you got a hold of that one or not.
I'll have to look in my hiding spot and see if I still have it sitting there. I got everything from Bill's house, so I must have it. I had something from Rick Kaesler, but I can't remember if I ever got it back to him or not. So I have to take a look. I've got a secure spot that I slide all these so they're out of the way. And I just haven't looked in that spot. I'll take a look and see if yours is there. But
Jeff,
yep.
this is Don. I have meetings at the rec center most every Wednesday morning, and I could get the photos up. The office is open after 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I end up staying there until probably about 8:15 or 8:30, so I could flip the photos around.
Sure, that's fine too. If you're there often, it saves Pat a trip. I don't care who wants to do it. Does everybody want to do this? Seeing all the volunteers for prints so far, I'm wondering if it's something that we should just forget about.
I get there every Wednesday morning and I see Joe's photo there.
Is that
Oh, is
mine?
I think you're up. Been sitting there, never changes.
I've been on display for a year.
Year and a half, probably.
Wow,
Yeah.
gonna get old.
Great
Don't get
advertising.
too excited. Nobody was there for about 9 months.
Yeah, that's true.
Good point. Good point. Well, I guess
So-
the real, Jeff, your real question is, do we want to do it going forward until
Right.
maybe we're back in the building? I mean, why not take a hiatus for a while and just,
Yeah, is it our way of kind of like reserving the room so that we might be going back there someday? So that's why we hang a picture there?
Well, it's the rec department was kind enough to give us a display case for us to put pictures up in. And
Oh.
it was a good way to, you know, they liked it because we were
Advertise the club and-
constantly changing the photos.
Yeah, Jeff,
Yeah.
I think that the idea of putting in some information about the club and they contact, to email or call to find out more about the club would be beneficial because if anyone stops and looks at the photo, there's 50% of the interest, in maybe what's happening. So if you have contact information, we might get new members out of that.
Is that information in there right now?
I believe the website is on there.
Because I mean, that would be great to have those contact.
Yeah.
info.
We could
Ian-
certainly create something.
Right.
Ian is going to be talking about our general Facebook, which we've updated, and the possibility of having a photo of the month with information on there as people go through the internet. We have, at one of our meetings, we decided that nobody knew what was going on, but since that time, we have actually used the Facebook account. There's actually two of them, and Ian's going to do a bang up job on that. But before I leave, I just want to say we need a show and tell person for next week or month. Because Jeff volunteered tonight because Brian couldn't do it, so we need somebody else to go ahead and do show and tell next week. Geez, I am going to bed next
Yeah.
month.
Well, that's on my list, but we can.
Oh, I'm
we
sorry,
can-
I didn't
we
mean to
can-
take over.
Oh, that's fine. We'll get to that in a few minutes. How's that?
Okay, I'll shut my mouth.
All right.
Joe, I'll volunteer for the first month just to get this thing started.
For the picture.
For putting
showing-
a photo, for getting a photo, and
Okay,
I'll work with Don on doing that.
all right. Well, since mine been up for a year, I'm gonna pass for November and December at least, so. Do we have anybody that would like to volunteer for November and December to have a great picture go up on the wall?
Joe, I can follow up probably Ken's one then.
Okay, you're gonna do November?
Sure.
Okay,
And I can get a picture, maybe if I get to the Hone Bridge, I can deliver it then to, like Ken, who can just give them all to Don or Pat.
okay, so for the next
I mean,
3
I've got
months,
things that I could do today, so,
so for the next 3 months, we've got Ken, Ian, and Jane.
yeah.
How's that? Man, that was quick. Sounds good. Let's move on to the next topic. Jeff, I'm going to need your help again. This is the website report you asked me to bring up regarding
Okay.
the homepage.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Okay, same thing, but on the website, I'm looking for photos to put on the homepage of the website. I try to change it every month. For a while, when we were doing more field trips, there were a couple people that would constantly send me photos for field trips, and then I would just pick them out. Right now, I have my photos up on the website, and let me just show you. Oops, that's right. I forgot. Let's move this here and. Okay.
Does anybody look at that website, do you think?
I don't know.
I do a lot because, I turn myself off again. I do a lot because I'm looking for photos to put in the newsletter. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, the traffic from me to that website is probably consistent.
Yeah, so this is the front page of the website. We have a little blurb that talks about what we do and that we're currently virtual. And then there's room, I put 4 photos on the front page, just because for a while we were getting enough people to have 4 photos up, but I can change it from 4 to 1 to 2. It's sort of nice to get a variety of stuff. So that's what we're looking to also keep going with.
Now, you're also looking for more people in the member gallery to present photos too, aren't you?
Right, yeah. People should update their member gallery, and I'm not sure, nobody's sent me photos in quite a few months or even a year.
Okay.
One person did, I believe. Every now and then I get somebody to do it. I don't remember where I'm at. Everything's up to date right now, but I think Patty, I think you did, didn't you?
I
Yeah.
think Patty does a lot of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah,
can you
I-
take pictures out of
Yeah,
the
I had
member
some-
gallery?
I had really, really old pictures on there that were pretty crappy. So, since I've slightly improved over the years, I had them switch some of the photos out.
Yeah, I don't pull from the member gallery. I pull when people send me stuff for field trips.
Okay.
So when you do send me field trip photos, I will generally pick one or two that I feel look really nice and would be good for that front page.
So,
But since
Jeff,
we haven't done many field trips, it's a little quiet.
But what about the president's photo challenge? Because he's got the monthly information there too. We could start doing some of those.
If I would take those too,
Shit.
and I
Alright.
could post those in our gallery, our field trip images.
All right.
We could actually, so we could keep all those going and use them, because the website needs to be constantly updated to keep it fresh, to get people to keep coming back to it. I've pulled things out because I don't have enough time to write articles for it. So I pulled the monthly article that I used to have in there all the time. So, if we had a monthly blog for quite a while, but that takes a lot of work to keep going, and I just didn't have the time to keep it up.
At our planning meeting back in early August, I think it was, opened a can of worms with this Facebook issue. Do you think that all of these things that we're talking about in this last 2 or 3 minutes here have some commonality that could be merged together in some way, shape, or fashion?
Well, yeah, they're all going to work together. So, that's important. The hard part is I can't pull photos off of Facebook to be able to put them onto the website. So people would have to send me copies of the photos to go onto the website. Everybody can post themselves on the Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have, I believe it's here. And let me look again. Yeah, I thought I had, one time we had a Facebook link on the website. I guess I could put it back on. I guess because we hadn't been using Facebook, I took it off, but I can
It'd be a
add
good
it.
idea, because I think what Ian's going
Oh, yeah,
to talk
it is.
about tonight will help out quite a bit.
Yep, it is on here. It's
Okay.
in a small corner. And I did update the homepage of the Camera Club Facebook. Ian probably noticed that. I don't know. Many
Okay.
other people have been on there, but.
So I guess
So-
the challenge for you right now is you need more of us to send you pictures.
Yep. You
It is
get
a
bored,
camera
send me
club.
some
Yeah,
pictures and I'll
yeah.
use them.
All right. Is that all we need to emphasize right now? Just
Yeah.
get them to you.
Otherwise, it just ends up being a lot of my pictures on the website, which,
Oh. Well, we can't let you control everything.
yeah. And I need to keep my website up, so I don't want to keep putting all my stuff on this website.
All right.
Question, sir.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is it
ahead.
possible to send you, along with pictures, maybe a couple of paragraphs about a trip, say I took to a place and wanted to comment on the fact that it was a wonderful place, and you can install that on the website along with the pictures?
Sure, that's what I was originally hoping we could do with our monthly blog. Now, if nothing else, if we don't get enough, the problem is if we don't get enough stuff on the monthly blog, it's not worth running it. But then the other good spot that it can certainly go on would be onto Facebook. And Ian can talk to that point. So, if we can't use it in the website, if you still send it to me, I can post it to Facebook if nothing else. So we'll get it used one way or another. So yeah, if you've got a favorite spot that worked out well, you've got, want to talk about how you did a photo, talk about a certain piece of equipment, anything, the more we can get the website and Facebook active, the more it gathers attention to other people.
Jeff, are there specifics about sizing of the photos, copywriting, et cetera? Vertical versus horizontal?
That really, I don't think makes a difference. I tell everybody 2100 pixels on the long side works just fine. That's not to say that people can't screen capture from the website. They generally can't right click to copy it, but they can still screen capture it. But I don't think it's a big problem with people swiping photos. I don't worry about it personally for my stuff. If I see somebody doing it, I will bother them about it, but I generally haven't had a problem. I used to keep an eye on it all the time, and then I just go, it's not worth all that. I used to even copyright all my photos, although personally they're all copywritten as soon as you take them. But I submitted mine right to the copyright office and copyright wrote them. Trouble was, it never did me much good because I never went after anybody for it, and just was taking a lot of time and money. So,
okay,
All right.
thanks.
Let's say the real issue was Jeff is requesting, send him photos. Let's
Yep.
see if we can jump in and do that and make his day a little bit better. On the next item on my agenda is regarding money. We have dues this year. They're going to be $20 a person. What is it? 25 for a family, I think. The details are on the last page of the newsletter. Pat, have many people paid their dues yet?
I had about 7 or 8 so far.
All right. Are you going to send Dunn's notice out to everybody else? Well, I guess the obligation we have is send Pat the money. The form is there, the address is there. Let's get Pat the money, and if they don't get it by what deadline, they're going to be dropped off.
It's
I think
November.
I put in November that we'll start dropping people if they don't pay.
November 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that shouldn't be hard to do. Let's get Pat the money. The next item is let's talk about my comment in the newsletter, the photo challenge this year. Jane started a tradition last year that I'm carrying forward. I think it's a great idea to do the month by month challenge. We're all out and about. We're all taking pictures a lot of times. What I'm recommending is I posted the 10 topics in the newsletter that I've chosen for the year. It's a wide variety of things. What I'd like to see happen is that I'm going to list that group of 10 items on Facebook as well. Maybe Jeff, you can put it on the website as well for the year, but it's going to be in the newsletter every month. What I'd like to see happen would be that every month we focus on that month's topic. And if I could get as many of you as possible, the same challenge Jeff has is to send me a couple of pictures every month, and I will try to get those to Ellen, and she can choose some of those to put in the newsletter. And then I can take the pictures that were sent to me, and I'll put together a small slideshow every month and display the topic that you've sent. Does anybody have any questions about that process, or would you like to see it modified in any way, shape, or form? If so, please let me know. Any comments? Anybody want to modify the topics? Of course, I'm kind of set on those topics.
It's nice to have all the topics for the year rather than getting a topic at the beginning of the month for the next month. And you may have missed a good opportunity prior to finding out about it, so you can plan ahead.
Yeah, it's, as you look at the list, I mean, there's quite a few different things you could do there. You know, even under reflections, we're going to have a lot of opportunity. Water, all forms. I mean, ice is water. Holidays. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It can be any holiday. I like the one, all creatures great and small. I mean, that covers anything. And fall colors, of course, those are coming up on us pretty quick, I think. So anyway, that's my objective for the year with the topics. It's always good to have a target to shoot for, and let's make it happen. And Ellen will be able to get some of those into the newsletter. And then as I indicated, I'll put together some kind of a small slideshow every month for those that send me items, and we'll go from there. While we're at it, I also wanted to mention, you could take some of the pictures from those 10 topics and post them on our Facebook page as well, and keep us all a little bit tuned in to what's going on, so we're not just limited to looking at them once a month here. Go on and post them onto the Facebook, and Ian will talk about that very shortly. Now, the one thing that we don't have yet is the next topic, and that's the show and tell volunteers. I'm looking at the next 3 months. I know we've got Ken, Ian, and Jane for the single picture, but I'd like to have 2 volunteers for each one of those next months to do that 7 or 8 minute display of your show and tell pictures. Can I get anybody to sign up for any one of those 3 months at this point in time? October, November, December? Hello?
Looks like Chris is volunteering there, Joe.
Okay.
I can do, let's say I do October.
Okay, Chris, you're number 1.
Joe, you should already have me for October.
Yeah.
Okay, Ian is for October. November?
I send those to whom?
Do me.
Send them to me. That's in the newsletter as well with my email address. November? No,
Patty
actually.
Patty volunteered for that.
Yeah.
Patty for November? Okay. Another one for November? Laura?
Looks like Laura.
December? Let's see who I can volunteer here. How about you, Paul? Jim? Peter? Hello? Turn your mute button.
December? Did you say December there?
Peter, you say December?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. Anyone else? Who else we got on this list here? Oh, there's one.
Looks like Bernard Hall, looks like he's volunteering. He's not joining the panelists today. I think he's just listening, but he raised his hand. So
okay,
I'm taking it that that's his sign that he's volunteering.
All right. Okay, we've got the next 3 months covered.
So Joe, you want us to email you the photos?
Well, no,
Or
these are
can-
these are the pictures that you will be bringing to the meeting and screen sharing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, these are.
Screen shares. I forgot we
yeah.
do screen shares in this club. Yep. Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay. All right. So for the next 3 months, we're covered. Ellen, will you be able to post these in the newsletter as well? Hello. Well, I'll talk to her later. Okay.
And if somebody doesn't want to screen share the images, you can send them to me and I'll
Okay.
be happy to display them
All right.
for you.
Yeah, I can put the, I will remind people in the newsletter who is posting when.
Sounds good.
Or showing when, yeah.
Thank you. We've got a busy month coming up here for field trips. I've never seen 3 almost in 1 month, but We have the Raptor photo shoot, Audubon on 9/11 from 9 till 12. We have the Home Bridge shoot on the 14th at 6:30. The details are in the newsletter with the location where we're going to meet at 6:30. And I'm not totally sure about the Old World, Wisconsin. We have it tentatively set for the 2nd of October. Is that still on? I've heard it mentioned, but I haven't heard anybody define a time, date, place, or anything of that nature where we're going to meet. Does anybody know for sure?
I guess somebody's got to work on that.
Hello.
I don't think we have anybody set to work on it, so.
Okay. Is that something we even want to do this year? I've done a little research on the property. Some of their bigger events are actually a little bit later in the year when fall gets into full bloom. Maybe we don't make it a formal field trip. Maybe we make it an opportunity. So if you want to go down and attend some of the events that are going on, you can check their website. Anybody disagree with that, or is that an acceptable plan?
Well, I can tell you, looking at their website for fall from September 4th to October 10th, they're just open Saturday and Sunday 10 to 4.
Right. So it's very limited, but I think it's a great place. I haven't been there for probably 10 or 15 years, but I understand it's the one thing they're adding to the event space down there is a beer garden. So they're making their own down there. So I think that's important. That might be a reason for some of us to go. Well, let's take it off of the list at this point. Maybe we can just, I think the 2 might be enough for the month of September here. So that's kind of where we are.
Yep, and don't forget the Birds of Prey. If anybody's still interested, we do have room available. It's $85 a person.
Oh, I thought it was 100.
Well, it's
Coupon.
85 because we have a discount code.
Okay, okay.
So we can save you $15. So if you're interested, it's Saturday 9 to noon. And we'll be talking about some of the stuff going on there when Ken and I do our program.
All right.
The home Joe, can I talk about the home bridge real quick?
Go ahead.
So the home bridge, we have it scheduled for 6:30. To be fair, that's probably a little early because it's still going to be bright out. The bridge, I think, turns on at 7. But there's other things in the area to shoot. So for starters, the newsletter does mention let's meet near the Milwaukee Sail Loft restaurant. When I do the social media stuff, I'm going to share my screen anyway. I'll show a map real quick so people do have an idea where we're meeting.
I think that restaurant is actually closed on Tuesday. So there's parking
Sure.
right there.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not planning on going to the restaurant either way, but it's just a really good marker. That's good to know.
Correct, but I thought, if they're closed, then nobody will be in the parking lot. So
I don't even know if they have a parking lot there, to be honest.
I think it's off. Yeah, I think
there's
it's
a lot
off
of
street
parking. There are some lots in the area.
Okay.
Most of it's just street parking because do we decide if Summerfest over by then, right? Summerfest is only the weekends. That's what we decided.
Summerfest is only weekends.
Right.
For a second there, I was freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going down there on Summerfest. No, the Summerfest is only on weekends, so we're fine. So it should be fine to just go down there and park right along there. But it's a decent area to just meet right there. Like I said, it'll be daytime. There's the lighthouse is out there you can take pictures of. The bridge itself is neat to shoot during the day. There's all sorts of lines you can shoot. If it rains beforehand, reflections are always fun. There's also, if we walk up Erie Street, there's the new park that they kind of put in that used to be like a bridge. There's like a bridge right there at the mouth. So that's kind of neat. So there's some various things that we can shoot until, the lights start to turn on and things. And then things just look differently as the sun goes down. At first, the lights don't pop that much. And then as it gets darker and darker, obviously they stand out more and you just get different effects. So
Okay.
just heads up, that's kind of the plan. I did mention in there, bring all sorts of lenses. I shoot it with wide lenses. I shoot it with telephoto lenses. You can take a telephoto and you can go walk across the parking lot and get farther away from the bridge and get a kind of like a compression shot. So lots of different things we can do out there.
Sounds
so that's
good.
on the 14th.
All right. At 6:30 at the restaurant. All right.
6:30.
Okay. Before we get to the Facebook and a couple of other things, Jeff, you indicated you wanted to mention a few things about Wacko and the PSA news. So it's all
Sure.
yours.
Yeah, for Wacko, just really the two things. The Birds of Prey photo shoot at Schlitz Audubon Center is still room available, and it's Saturday from 9 till noon at Schlitz Audubon Center. $85. I can give you a coupon code if you need it. It's in the newsletter, I believe, as well. The other thing is the fall Wacko competition is now open to take your images. We have 8 different sections, right, Ken? 8?
Yes, it's 8.
8. I can't get used to the extra 2. They're all projected sections. The competition is the first Saturday in November. You will be able to watch the final judging of the award-winning images, which are basically the first awarding of the first, second, and third images from all the top scoring images that have been chosen by the judges. There's projected open, projected nature. We'll get into all of that when Ken talks about the different categories and the new rules for the Wacko competition. So just a reminder, geez, I forgot the cutoff date.
October 9th.
It's October 9th, thanks.
I'm
Ian.
looking on the newsletter.
Yep.
No problem.
Yep, October 9th. So you've got about a month to get your images in. They're 2100 pixels on the long side. And you need to register. If you haven't registered for the uploader, you need to register ahead of time. And you need to give us 24 to 48 hours for you to get approved to use the uploader. So please don't wait till the last minute and think that you're going to get approved right away, because sometimes I'm not around to make sure you are who you are. So that's the 2 Wacko announcements. PSA chapter, Wisconsin chapter, we will be meeting, and I don't have the exact date, it's the middle of November will be our next meeting. We're going to have a photographer talk about zoo photography. The meeting goes from 10 o'clock in the morning till about 3 in the afternoon. You need to be a member of Photographers Society of America to be able to join the Wisconsin chapter. The Wisconsin chapter is made up of people from Wisconsin and a couple of neighboring states. The meeting dues for the chapter itself is only, I believe, $5 or $7. We meet 4 times a year, November, January, and March. And then we have a field trip in May, which will be to the La Crosse, Eau Claire area. So anybody interested in more information on that can just get a hold of me. I do a lot of stuff with PSA chapter.
All right.
That's it.
Well, you were talking about Wacko and the rule changes. Ken, can you jump in now and tell us about the competition rules?
Do you want to do that or you want to get the show and tell out of the way? What's your choice? I'll go ahead and go through the rule changes here.
Okay,
Let's
do
see
that
if I
first.
can share my screen here.
All right.
Well, I take it you're not seeing my screen, right?
We're seeing your screen, Ken, but it's
Windows.
just your screen itself.
Yeah,
We see your desktop.
I've got two
Desktop.
screens and I got the Word program on the other screen.
So you need to either stop sharing and switch to the other screen or move
Drag
the
it over.
document over.
Yeah, it's not letting me move it over. So I tell you what, I'll stop sharing and then I'll bring it over. I'm getting closer.
Jeff, while he's doing that, Birds of Prey, we just show up at Schlitz Audubon and they'll direct us back to, because usually that's by the birdhouse, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's an email going out on Thursday that will explain where to go and all the rules.
Okay. It's been 3 years since we did this, so
Yep.
I only like half remember.
All right, is this
I
working
remember it
out
being
for
fun.
everybody?
That's what I remember.
Perfect, Ken.
All right. So we didn't make a whole lot of changes to the nature division. The main thing we want everybody to keep in mind with nature is that the hand-to-man in the photo is prohibited. The other thing that we adjusted was at one time we were talking about allowing tethers into our nature photos, and we decided not to do that. So captive birds and animals are allowed, like the raptor shoot, you can use those photos. However, any straps, ropes, or tethers or other evidence of the hand of man are not allowed in the photo. So for nature, what is acceptable? It has to be a natural setting. You can remove dust spots, digital noise, or film scratches. Scientific banding is okay. Cropping is okay. The normal types of processing that we do, such as exposure, tonal, saturation, white balance, dehaze, contrast, lens correction, noise reduction, sharpening adjustments, both global and locally. You can use graduated filters and you can use HDR and focus stacking. Not allowed is any appearance of the hand to man. There are some exceptions to that, like animals that might be customly found in man-made areas. You cannot move a subject to an indoor studio and photograph it. You can't photograph molded specimens. I would hope nobody would do that. One thing that people sometimes forget is you cannot remove items from the photo or move things, or you cannot add things to your photos. And I just talked about removing straps, ropes, and tethers is not allowed. So basically, your most common photo editing is acceptable. You cannot have stitched images like panoramics. One of the subjects this time is birds. Birds with animals with feathers and wings. Wild birds, waterfowl, and domesticated birds are allowed in this theme. However, no mammals, fish, molded subjects are allowed. Subjects should be presented in a natural environment, should not be moved to a studio location. Open division. This is the general open division that we've always had. We made a revision in the rule here. The main revision we made is that all images and parts of the images must be the maker's images. You can use brushes where you create your own effect, but you cannot use if you purchase a texture or background, you cannot use that in the open division. It has to be your photo or a texture or background that you created. So what is acceptable? Any subject matter, any editing processes, use of single or multiple images. You can have special effects, lighting effects, color changes that have a unique effect. You can use brushes. What is not allowed is any part of the image that was not made by the maker. So that is what is new. So and especially in our club, we do have a lot of people that have made some great photos using purchased textures, and that will not be allowed anymore. The other open category is portraits, which is pretty wide open. The portrait category is restricted to human subjects only. Portraits of animal, birds, etc. will not be allowed and will be disqualified. So now we're coming to our new category. This is called limited open division. The general idea here was at first we talked about changing some of our nature rules, and we decided against doing that. So instead we came up with a new category called limited open division. So this is a very restricted, somewhat like nature with a couple exceptions. But the general description is that the limited open division is restricted to the editing of a single photographic image. So you cannot use composites in there. What you are allowed to do, which you can't do in nature, is you can remove items from the photo. So if we go to the summary here, what is acceptable is object removal and cropping. You can do your normal processing with tonal adjustments, dodging and burning. You can make color adjustments, color tone gradients and LUTs. You can do your noise reductions, your sharpening, and your blurring. What is not allowed, you cannot use HDR, you cannot use panoramics, merging, and you cannot do focus stacking. It's one single image. You cannot do sky replacements. You cannot add a purchase texture, or actually you cannot add anything to this category. No adding textures, no adding objects or overlays, no adding any parts from another image, graphic, or media source. You cannot add sun rays or other special effects from editing software. You cannot use brushes to add objects to the photo. And you cannot extend the document size. So for example, if you've got a 8x10 and you wanted to increase it by creating some blank spot and adding content aware to fill in that space, you cannot do that. It has to be one photo that you took. So, and this will be in two categories. There'll be a monochrome open limited projected, and there'll be a color open projected limited. So, so that is our definitions. This was approved by the Board of Delegates. We will be following these instructions for the next two competitions, and then we'll reevaluate the process and see if there's any changes that need to be made. But this is what we will be using as guidelines for the next two competitions. These competitions definitions are on the uploader website. There, once you actually start uploading your photographs within that category that you're entering, there'll be the specific definitions will also be listed there. If you run into any questions with these, you can feel free to give me a call and I'll try to help you work through it. So that is, those are the definitions that we have.
Ken, I got a quick question, just clarification, make sure I understand it right. So like when I take flower photos, for example, many times I like to clone out pollen and stuff like that. Those would still fall in the limited open, correct? 'Cause
Yes,
I'm
you
not
could, yes,
adding.
yes, you wouldn't be able to do that in nature, but if you want to bring that photo
Right.
under open and take the pollen out, you can do that.
Okay, thanks.
And that was one of the reasons why that category was created. Any other questions? Joe, you want me to jump into my show? My
yes,
show
please.
while I'm here?
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
While we're waiting, do we have another person doing show and tell tonight or not?
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
That's right.
Now, this is going to be a slideshow, so it should go through pretty quickly.
We're not getting sound, Ken.
I don't have sound in here, Jeff.
Oh, okay.
No music this time.
Then we're getting it perfectly.
Then we're getting it fine.
Venice Rookery, that was the first time I went there in Florida. It's a great place. This was an alligator that decided to pull down a blue heron out of the rookery and eat it. This is Gatorland, one of my favorite places. This is an alligator displaying, trying to attract the mate. They do make these sounds and they vibrate and they create the air bubbles in the water. There's another one of my places that I like now. It's Lake of Pop Gods. I've been here 2 years in a row now, and I really like that. I try to hit flowers after it rains. This is our club shoot at the Shady Lane. This was the PSA chapter up in Minnesota. This is a Duluth area bridge at sunrise, and this is the same bridge at blue hour time. This is Artist Point in Grand Marais, Minnesota. Jay Cook State Park, which is southwest of Duluth. Split Rock Lighthouse, it's in the distance, but I kind of like where the clouds are leading you in there. And then Jeff and I did a couple of night shoots up at Hollow Rock and near the Canadian border. Jane doesn't think this is a touch of an aurora, but I'm pretty sure it was a slight touch anyways. This is Road America, the Superbike race. And then the other thing I did three visits to the Dairyland race, bicycle races. This is the Women Pro, the Men's Pro. Then I tried to get a couple blur shots. So this is a blur shot with the women. And then I really enjoyed the hand cycle races. These are normally people with legs that are not functioning due to paralysis or disability. Then this is up in Seney in June, end of June. I go up there for the loons. This year they didn't have a single loon chick that hatched. They're also, but they did have trumpeter swans that hatch. This is family with 5. Common loon with a fish. Miners Beach, one of our favorite places for sunsets. Notice there's no water coming from the waterfall there. Brian and I went down to Chicago for the roses. This is a sunflower place that Jeff had mentioned, Shaman Sunflower Farm. I actually made 4 trips there this year. That's from my phone. And that one's also from my phone. And lastly, I did the fireworks at Summerfest, the Big Bang, and John Wiley found me there and we stayed together for the fireworks.
Very nice.
That's it.
Thank you. So Jeff, you're our next presenter.
Yeah. See if we can make this work right. This is flowers from that same farm, sunflowers. Some reason we're having problems here getting this to show.
Wow, very nice, Jeff.
Thank you.
I was at the same garden and I didn't see half of those flowers. Very,
They had a lot of nice flowers there.
wow.
They were going for quite a while. I only went there twice. I know Ken got there 4 times, but
Yeah.
they're just down the road from me. It's their first year at trying to do it, and they have something like 14 acres worth of sunflowers there, and about
Wow.
5 or 6 different varieties.
Jeff, what did you use for the close-up?
I shot everything with a 105 macro lens. So
Very well done. Quite a bit of after Photoshop or Lightroom activity as well, right?
yeah, not a whole lot other than blurring the background a little bit more. Most of them were shot at f4, so the backgrounds were fairly blurred. But I did blur some of them a little bit more than others, and sometimes I removed a leaf or two.
Yeah. Very nice. Nice techniques.
Thank you.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Yeah, my wife made a comment. She said, "Were you at the same place he was?" I said, well, I guess not. Hey, I did have a question. The music, what's your music source here lately?
That was my own creation.
Oh,
That's using GarageBand and taking clips and putting them together. I got tired of getting copyright claims on the YouTube channel, so I spent 2 days creating a 6-minute music thing for slideshows.
very nice.
So with Apple, if GarageBand comes free with Apple, and there is a lot of stuff that you can do to create your own music.
You're just a man full of talents, without a doubt.
It was actually a lot of fun to create. I've only done one. I plan to do some more, but takes a lot of time, and I'm not that musically inclined. So
all right. Okay, we have a couple of big things on the tail end here. One is Ian's going to talk to us about Facebook, and then Jeff's going to talk to us about how to photograph birds for the upcoming raptor shoot. Which one of you want to go first?
Have Ian go first.
All yours, Ian. Take it away.
Mine shouldn't take too long here.
Take it away.
Share my screen.
Yeah, I think you should be able to. If not, let me know. Yep.
Nope, I see the option. All right. So we had kind of talked about this at the last meeting. We talked a little bit more about it in the planning meeting. When we talked about it as a group, there's a lot of kind of confusion out there as far as what we had. So I figured I'd start by showing you what we have. We have a Menomonee Falls Camera Club UA page, which is basically just an organization page. The posts, as you scroll through them, are from the Camera Club. So Jeff threw some of his photos in there because Jeff is also an admin on it, but predominantly you'll just see posts from the club, and like I use this just earlier with the meeting information, with the newsletter. I also threw out their information about the field trip. So we could just kind of make notification posts out there, and then this way people who stumble across the Menomonee Falls Camera Club might find it in Facebook. They'll know that, hey, we exist. We'll have updated posts to show that we still exist, because for a while there, I think we hadn't posted anything in quite some time, so people might think like our club disbanded. So I'm going to try to keep this kind of updated with that type of stuff. The other thing that we have is the group, Menomonee Falls Camera Club UA group. And this is where any of us can join this group. We currently have 24 members. It's been pretty active, I'd say, since we started, kind of let everybody in because a bunch of us were pending forever, and then we got that sorted out so we could get people in the group. So as you see, like Joe posted some pictures earlier today, about 3 hours ago. I also threw in the announcement here because I'll probably do that. I'll probably post in both places just in case people don't see it on the main page. But we've had people posting these and we've been commenting on them. And so it's a great place to, you know, Patty had some questions about Lightroom. You got questions troubleshooting something. It's a great way, you know, just to stay in touch outside of our monthly meetings, fill in the gaps, share your images, that type of stuff. So it's been kind of nice seeing everybody's photos, people mentioning upcoming shoots, that type of stuff. So I definitely recommend if you're on Facebook to, you know, look up the Menomonee Falls Camera Club UA group, and you can click join, and then we just accept, you know, we it's a private group, so we have to let members in. I know there's some talk in the July meeting, were we gonna make it public, were we gonna leave it private? The short answer is you have to leave it private once you make it private. But we also felt this kind of made sense because then we can control it. We don't have spamming happening in this group, that type of stuff. We don't have to worry about that since we control who's in here, who can see it. You know, we can kick somebody out if somebody sneaks in who shouldn't be in there, whatever. And then, like I said, the main page is just for kind of promoting the group. One thing that, yeah, go ahead.
Can the newsletter, a page or so, be put on the general or the public Facebook page, or does it strictly have to be photos, or do they take JPEGs?
So
No,
the
PDFs.
easiest, to me, the easiest thing is what I did, which was I put a link to the newsletter when it got on the website. So I'm just using Facebook to ultimately redirect you to all the vast resources that we're hosting on our website.
Got it. That makes sense.
So I put a link to a newsletter here. This post that I made for the home bridge, if I click it, it takes me to the website, to the photo shoot page.
Okay.
So,
okay.
if I do the same thing with the newsletter one, it'll take me to a newsletter page.
Okay. That makes more sense.
There you go.
Got it.
So it's easier than throwing like you said, a JPEG up there. It's gonna be hard to read. It's not gonna have the links, all that stuff. So so I was kind of keeping an eye. I don't know when exactly that newsletter went up on the website. I think I checked on like Friday. It wasn't up there yet. So once I noticed it today, I posted it here.
Okay.
Yeah, it all depends as well. Ellen's sending it to me a little earlier, but then it's a matter of me being able to get onto the website and post it. So.
And it was a holiday weekend and all that.
Right.
Yeah,
I
it
usually
takes
try
me
to
a
get it
couple
out
days.
Wednesday morning before the Tuesday meeting. I figure too much in advance, people are going to forget where it is, and too close, it's a little too short. But
and what I'll probably start doing is I'll probably throw a post out there saying, you know, we've got a meeting next week, you know, on a week before the meeting. So anybody who stumbles across me, like, oh, there's a meeting coming up. And then when the newsletter's out, I can make a second post saying, here's the newsletter.
Okay. And that's maybe where we could put the link to attend a meeting too. So, yeah. Okay, good.
So all of this is very much a work in progress as we figure out what information we want to put on here, when we're going to put it on here, that type of stuff. Mainly tonight, I just wanted to make sure people knew what these were, what we have, and what the purpose is of them, how we're intending to at least use them. So since there was a lot of confusion with that in July as we were going back and forth with ideas.
Ian, I have a question. When somebody joins the other page, do they automatically be able to see this page as well?
So anybody out there, actually, that is funny you should mention it. Hold on. So if I can, hold on. Let's do this over here, hopefully. Here's a little slow. I got too many things open. All right. So here's Facebook. and I'm not signed in. So I'm not even anybody with a Facebook account. So, because I opened this up in a different browser. So anybody can find the Menomonee Falls Camera Club UA. That's just our main page that has the link to seminars and whatever I throw up there. Like I said, the newsletter.
Okay.
So that is up for anybody to see. They cannot see what's in the group. So the group page where we're sharing photos and we're commenting to each other, and that's up. That's all internal. That's
Okay.
only the people that we approve.
All right. Now this page, this page you're showing here, that would be a great page for those of you that are going to participate in the challenge to throw up some of your pictures. And that way, maybe you don't even have to mail them to me. I can pull them right off of here and make a slideshow right off of those. Anyway, I think this is a great spot for those of you that haven't utilized it to be able to show some of your pictures to the entire group. I think we've got about 24 members in this group,
24.
and that'd be a great way to show some pictures around. I would welcome your involvement.
Ian.
Yeah.
Looking at the page and then where the Menomonee Falls Camera Club thing is and the link to their newsletter, whatever. I've looked at this website 3 times and now's the only time I noticed it because to me, it's hidden.
The
newsletter,
are you talking about this part?
Yeah, it's under, to me, it's under the PSA, which is nice and big, and Menomonee Falls Camera Club newsletter and meeting info seems hidden. It's not out there for people to say, oh, here's their link. Okay.
There's only so much I can control that Facebook will throw, the PSA. Facebook grabbed that based off of our Falls photo. I'm not entirely, I think it's because it's hosted on Squarespace.
Okay.
They threw it here. But it's something I can work on with as far as making the post more catchy, I suppose.
Yeah, more obvious or whatever.
Yep.
It's still, listen, we got this far in about a month and
No, it's good feedback. No, that's
Yeah.
it's good feedback. And like I said, we'll work on this as we go. Yep.
One day at a time.
Yeah, we made a lot of progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the group alone. I mean, we had like 3 members in there in July, I think. So
yeah.
To piggyback off of what Joe was saying, when we do the presence challenges or field trips or any of that, if we want to feature one on the main page, I think that's a great thing too.
Yeah.
Only Jeff and I can post them so they show up right here. People can go out there and post, but they get buried down here in this community spot. So like Paul threw out some nice images to show off on one. But like it's really buried down here because the organization pages aren't necessarily designed for that.
But the other group is the one you want to be in.
Right. But if I get a photo from somebody, I know this is like a common thread coming out of Jeff and myself, and Joe for that matter, for the Presence Challenge. But if you share a photo and you want it to get featured here on the page, you just send it to one of us. You can Facebook message it to us, you can email it to us, whatever. And then I can, if you get it to me, I'll just throw it up here and be like, here's a featured photo from so-and-so. And if you want a little blurb with it, we can put a little blurb with it. And then again, it just shows activity of our club and what we're doing and basically shows us off.
Okay.
The other thing, this was Patty's image. I don't think she actually showed it when she was explaining it. So this was the Kelby one, if I'm not mistaken, based off of the comments.
It is.
While I was sharing, I might as well show it here. And then I mentioned where we'll be meeting for the field trip. It's in the newsletter. I sent a small screenshot of it, but I figured I'd just show it to you. So this is the lighthouse. This is Summerfest grounds, the big amphitheater. The restaurant is right here. This park, I say park because it's like a couple tape benches. It's not a huge park at all. But parking along Erie, right along here under the bridge usually works well. Otherwise, some of these side streets you can usually park along. But meeting down here in this greenish area right on the corner is probably the best spot to meet. Apparently it's called Erie Street Plaza. And you can kind of see somebody's photo that they took and the view that you'll have of the bridge right from there. And we'll walk down the bridge. We can shoot under it. We can shoot the lighthouse, all that good stuff. The Trestle Park is the other park I was talking about earlier. So this whole stretch here, we can go along.
All right. Sounds
All
good.
right. That's
Thank
all
you.
I have. Anybody got any questions for me?
See you downtown.
I will be there.
All right. Jeff, tell us how to photograph birds.
Okay, let's see if I can make this work. Oh, great. Just a minute, I gotta get everything arranged here. So I take it everybody can see my
Yes.
keynote. Okay, so I put this talk together. It covers birds from captive to in the wild. This beginning part is about the captive birds that we're going to photograph at the Schlitz Audubon Center, which actually takes injured birds and such and helps them to get healthier, or generally they're birds that can't be put back into the wild because things have happened to them. The equipment that you're going to need, of course, a camera. I found a crop sensor camera tends to work a little better than a full frame. Although depending on the zoom lenses that you have, you are only working 10 to 15 feet away from your subject matter. I actually found that I use a 28 to 300 all-in-one zoom lens. But you could basically use anything from 28 millimeters up to 500 millimeters because you can get fairly close. To make sure some of the stuff is in the shade, so it could be a little dark, so I would recommend a tripod. I'd bring a ton of memory cards, batteries, and I will warn you, we're out in nature and there are mosquitoes. So you do want to bring some bug spray along. One thing while I'm thinking of it off the top of my head, you should also bring a mask. If you need to go into any of the buildings, and this would be if you needed to use the bathroom in any of the buildings, Schlitz Audubon does require masks when you go inside any building. So make sure you bring a mask along. With the tripod, I found shooting birds, whether they're captive or otherwise, using a gimbal head. The gimbal head just gives you a little smoother head for being able to spin around or move around and capture birds more in flight than the ones that are going to be on posts here. One of the things that I recommend people watch out for is watch for distractions in the background. We're going to have at this Birds of Prey shoot right now, we have 33 people signed up. So it's not going to be super crowded, but one thing that I noticed when I was shooting there the last time was somebody popped their head into my shot, and I got a nice red colorful hat and person taking a picture of the same bird as I was photographing them from the other side. So watch for distractions in your background. You do get a lot of people photographing the birds. We've got them in 5 different setups along the edge so that there are plenty of spots to shoot from. We do have a pile of stones that is now moved over to the edge. They seem to have moved the stone, the single stone that they had over, and they'll be putting some birds on that as well. This was their snowy owl. Unfortunately, the snowy owl is no longer alive, so we won't be able to photograph him. But we have about 15 other birds that we will be photographing. You can see how close we get here. So everybody is sort of circled around the bird. So you do have to watch out for people as they get from one side to the other. There are quite a few, and one thing that you want to do is you want to try to get close-ups so that you can hide the tethers and make it so that they look like they're still on a branch or tree limb of some sort. They're using different displays. We have a bunch of different ones that will be available. Some like this one here, some are old trees that we've, limbs that we brought them. But, you know, with a group of people like we have, you can get fairly close, but again, watch out for the background. I also suggest that you shoot with a shallow depth of field so that you get the background out of focus. We're trying to keep these displays about 15 to 20 feet away from the background. So you'll be able to use a rather shallow depth of field of say like f4, 5.6 to be able to get the bird sharp and the background out of focus. So you could see here, I suggest cropping in and trying both the whole bird and cropping in and just getting, you know, a head and shoulder shot of the bird. Watch for action with the birds. Here the bird is rousing, which is shaking out and rearranging their feathers. It's not something that happens too often, but they will do it. You can sort of tell that they're getting ready for it, and all of a sudden they'll do it, and it makes a great action shot. So again, you know, shallow depth of field to get the background out of focus, and you don't want to shoot a big shot like the shot on the left where you can see the tether. It's bad enough that you can see the straps on their legs, but if you shoot in a little tighter, you a lot of times can get that strap hidden away. I find that you can do a lot of interesting feather shots with the bird. So again, you don't want that edge of that support, so you zoom in a little bit closer, or you can move in a little bit closer and get the bird nice and sharp with the eyes, you know, sharp. Also, you want to try to watch as they turn their head to be able to see that little pinpoint of light, get a highlight in their eye to help make the bird look a little bit more alive. Again, watch out for the tethers. The handlers will try to keep the tethers out of the way as much as they can. But on the pile of stones, that can be difficult. So then that's a good time to zoom in. Watch for that catch light. You can see here, I waited for the bird to turn his head just a certain way, and that catch light just pops up, and it just makes the bird look a lot more alive. They have a number of different things that they put the birds on. They do, I don't remember seeing that tree there the last time we went. Ken, do you remember it? We were over that way, but I don't think that was there anymore.
Well, it has something like it. I don't remember, like she's holding that one branch, big branch that comes out, and I think it's just a straight thing, but I'm not sure if they're going to have those this year or not.
Yeah, they've got some that they're going to put up, but we didn't see all the different ones that they have. But you could see they're about 10, 15 feet away from the bird. And the big thing is just watch where the tethers are. You want to keep them hidden, and all you have to do is ask the handler, and they can tend to, you know, shove them out of the way. You want to make sure that you move slowly towards the bird. We're sending an email out to all the participants with a set of rules. And one of the things was to move slowly, make sure you check with the handler to make sure you can get to a certain side. And you don't want to sneak up behind the bird and startle it. Again, watch for the catch lights. We've got a lot of these stations set so that the background should be able to go out of focus. We got one area where we're going to put the little owls, and they've got this a tree branch that they're going to put inside the pine area there so that you get a little better shot. And again, if you see the tether on the wrong side, just ask the person and they'll try to move it to the back side. But you want to keep that narrow depth of field to be able to keep that background out of focus. This is Loki. It's one of my favorite birds. I love the crows. And something that you should do as you're photographing is think about them. It can work really nice in monochrome along with in color. Sometimes color gets a little distracting here. There's a lot of ragweed showing up, and that could be a little more distracting. So a monochrome shot might work a little better. And try a lot of close-ups. You're able to get close to these birds. You're not going to be able to do that in the wild. So take advantage and get nice and close. Watch the background, try to find natural poses. Again, make sure the tethers are hidden. You'll see that the birds will be looking around. We may actually see the birds get fed a little bit, but that's going to really depend on whether they're hungry or not. We won't know until we try it, and they're going to give it a shot, but usually these birds are pretty content, so I'm not sure if feeding is going to really work. So you can see, how close you can get, but you can also see that this was a year that we had about 50 people. So we got 20 less this time, so there'll be a little bit more room. Again, the backgrounds are nice and out of focus because we're trying to keep the stands away from the trees in the back. Watch for the bird. This owl was looking at something in the air. I think it was actually probably an airplane that was flying by. So I was able to get a nice, interesting shot as he was looking around. And again, you could see monochrome can work pretty nice. The upper right shot was the full frame shot that I had. Look out for the straps, especially on some of these smaller birds. I took this one into Photoshop and was able to get rid of the strap. You can't do that sometimes on all of them. You need some leg to be able to work with that. Fortunately here, I had a good portion of leg to be able to work with to remove the strap completely. Work on close-ups. You can get nice and close. You're not going to do that in the wild. Watch for the catch lights. Make sure they're in there. It makes the birds look a lot more alive when you get the catch lights. We are going to have an eagle to photograph. He doesn't like to be up on anything, so he's going to be more on the ground. We'll try to get him in a couple of spots, but it's a good way to be able to get a portrait of the bird. So a little recap, get close. You can be 10 to 15 feet away, move slowly, watch for the catch lights in their eyes, work on getting good feather detail, although the most important part is making sure the eyes are nice and sharp. Shoot with a shallow depth of field so that the background gets blurred. Use a tripod when you can. There's going to be enough room that you should be able to use a tripod. Watch out for the tethers and try monochrome shots as well as color. And you could see here's the shot that I got with the eagle just sitting on the ground. So if you throw the background enough out of focus, you can get some really nice detail of the feathers and that. So I thought, let's see, we got a little bit of time, so I'm going to go into a little bit of some of the birds wild birds that Ken has talked me into going and photographing. He's the one that pretty much taught me a lot of this stuff. One of his favorite spots, and you saw some shots there, was Seney National Wildlife Refuge up in the UP of Michigan. Here's a map of it. It's a group of pools that you're able to drive through. You come down this road and you start, and you've got a number of different places to shoot. You have a section where one road goes off this way and then another road this way, and it comes all the way around and creates a circle, and then you end up back on the road. Now with Ken, going around this place once is certainly not enough. Twice isn't usually good enough. 3 times is getting better, especially if you can do that before lunch, and then at least another 3 times after lunch. So we've done 4 to 8 times in a day, depending on what we've run into. The problem is a lot of times the birds are farther away in the ponds than that you're able to photograph. Generally, it's the middle to the end of June is when the young and the loons and the swans show up. So that's a good time to go. For this type of photography, you really need some pretty strong lenses. So for a camera, I really suggest a crop sensor camera. I use the Nikon D500. That gives me, with my 200 to 400 zoom, which is that big lens up there, gets me to 300 to almost to 600 millimeter. And then if I throw a converter on it, I can get even a little bit more. I can get almost up to 1,000 millimeter because that's an f4 lens. Of course, you need a lot of batteries, memory cards. I use a tripod with this gimbal head so that I can move pretty easily. Tripods and a teleconverter. So here are some swan shots. They sometimes can work pretty good. The one time we were there, it was able to get some really nice action shots on the ponds, but they're pretty far away. Even with the D500 crop sensor, I'm at only filling maybe half the frame. With the new enhanced stuff in Photoshop, it's going to make it nice to be able to enlarge the stuff a little bit more. I'm always looking for action, so I'm shooting with shutter speeds of 1,000th to 2,000th of a second. I shoot in shutter preferred automatic, and then I use my ISO setting is also on automatic because I don't care what the ISO speed is as long as I can keep my shutter speed high. I'm shooting wide open at f4 because I want as the least amount of depth of field as possible. So with the fast shutter speed, you're able to freeze the bird's wings and freeze the water. And you do have to watch out, especially with the swans, that you don't blow out the white in their white wings. I used to shoot a lot of back button focus, but I'm slowly switching now to mirrorless, and I'm finding that back button focus isn't quite as important as it used to be. I can now shoot with just the shutter button and have it work just about as well. But you watch for action. We had a lot of good action with the swans the one year that I shot these. These are pretty old, actually. We haven't seen as much action the last couple times I've been there. It's fun watching them get ready to take off. They almost run on water. And then you watch for close-ups too. You can get the babies, the young ones with the swans, they're floating around with the parents. So sometimes you can get lucky and they'll get close. Sometimes they interact with one another. The upper right shot there, that's usually the distance that we find most of these birds, and that's a full frame shot. So you can see they're pretty far away. Sometimes though, they come into shore, and sometimes they'll get close enough that you can do a nice headshot. You look for them when they're preening or cleaning their feathers, and when they're doing action. Then there's the loons at Seney, which Ken sort of didn't get much luck this last time. I wasn't able to go. Most of the time they're out this far where you're just getting small heads, but sometimes you can get them with the babies nice and close. That's why we go around and around trying to catch them when they're closer to shore. Sometimes they'll display, and sometimes you can catch them with fish in their mouth, feeding the young. And then there's other birds on these ponds as well. So sometimes you can get lucky and get some other nice birds. So at Seney, you want to watch for the birds displaying, watch for interaction. Good time is June, near the end of June, to catch them with the young. And unfortunately, I think my car now can drive around these pools all by itself because we've gone around so many times. Are
they one way?
Yep, it's one-way driving. So that's nice. The other spot that Ken and I like to go, and Brian, I should say, is Florida. A lot of nice birds down in Florida. There's a lot of good locations in Florida to shoot. We usually start off in Orlando and then usually go to the East Coast up by St. Augustine, Titusville, and we'll work all the way down to Vero Beach and then back across to the Tampa Bay area, Fort DeSoto. One spot that Ken found and he talked about, I think tonight, was Gatorland. This is a sort of an amusement park, but it's also a sanctuary for alligators and birds. The alligators live free in the ponds. They also have a bunch of display areas, and the birds come and go as they please. Nothing forces them to stay, but it's really nice because there's a nice deck area to be able to walk along. So you're able to shoot really close to these birds. You can get some really nice, interesting shots of them preening, feeding their young, flying around the ponds, trying to stay away from the alligators. Able to do some nice close-up shots. And there's a lot of different birds there, egrets, inhengas, a few other birds that Ken probably can tell you better than I can. But you want to watch for action. The nice part, we go mid-April where the young are just hatching out. So you can get to see some of the birds building nests. Some actually have eggs laid, and some, if you catch the timing right, they hatch out while you're there. These birds were 6-7 feet away from us. So I was able to get it with a 28-300 zoom lens. You can get nice headshots, yet you can get them flying as well. They do have some nice parrots in this place. So sometimes I get bored with the regular birds and I'll go shoot the parrots for a while. And you can see that this is not a hard place to shoot. There's a lot of birds close by. These birds weren't cloned in. This is an actual shot that I did of Ken photographing some of the birds with his long lens. The babies are in nest in April. You can use a wide angle to telephoto zoom lens, watch for action, and watch for in-flight shots while they're nest building. And then in Florida, there's a lot of stuff along the shorelines and beaches that you can shoot. We go over by Merritt Island near Cape Kennedy, and there's a lot of birds, but they're a lot harder to shoot. There's not as many birds as in Gatorland, but we shoot all along that coastline, all the way up from Cape Canaveral National Seashore to Vero Beach. And usually you need pretty strong lenses here, 500 millimeters or something close to that with a teleconverter on it and a crop sensor camera and a tripod with a gimbal. But you can get some nice shots. We're using the car driving around, and we're able to get a lot of these right from the car, or we just stop on the road, quietly get out of the car and move a little closer. I always like to be able to get the reflections of the bird in the water. And we're at a lot of different spots that you can drive around in Merritt Island to be able to get these birds. Sometimes you get some nice activity. And sometimes you get lucky and you see an osprey that's just caught a fish, or you see, I think that's what, an inhinga sunning itself.
Yeah, that's the top one on the right, and the bottom one right is a black buzzard.
Yeah. So you got to wait for the action on these, but you can get them feeding, preening, displaying for a mate, mating sometimes, sunning themselves, fighting, just flying. So you can get lucky. We took a boat trip and we saw this osprey that had built a nest on a big sign. And while we were watching, we saw it bring a fish in. I think this is what, an egret, Ken? I never know.
It's a reddish egret.
Yeah, reddish egret was fishing on one of the ponds we were driving through. So you look for action. Most of the time they're just eating. And the seashore, I love the seashore. We would pick a hotel right on the beach and we'd be able to walk up and down the beaches. And sometimes you can get them. I believe this was near Vero Beach or Vero Wetlands.
Yeah, Vero Wetlands.
Yeah, Vero Wetlands. The little bird on the lower right was down by Sanibel Island, I believe. Then the other spot that works real nice is St. Augustine Alligator Farm. Again, it's a big area with a lot of wild birds sitting there, right in the middle of downtown St. Augustine. So it's really sort of interesting. I don't find this one as attractive other than the spoonbills that you can photograph there. That's about the only thing that I liked at it. The egrets were better at the other gator farm. But
well, this is really good for flight shots. So
yeah, that's true. And they too had parrots. I don't know. There's something about parrots down there that you're able to get nice and close to get some nice parrot shots. But you get some other bird shots too. So, and that's the crew that the three of us have gone a number of times at Gatorland, and it's always been interesting. So,
Jeff.
Yeah.
Ken, have you been to the International Crane Foundation in Baraboo?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was there about a month ago, and that's really neat.
Yeah, it's nice. I didn't like that the fences that they had, for shooting some of the cranes were behind wire
Yeah.
all the time, and it's hard to get that to hide. But I've got a few shots of the cranes.
Yeah, I put the lens right up to an opening, so I get kind of that, well, whatever you call that, circle around.
Sure, sure. So, nope, yeah, I've been there. It's been a while since I've gotten over there, but it's a nice spot.
Have you ever been to Ding Darling's National Wildlife Refuge?
No, we tried, right, Ken? I think each time we went, they were closed.
Well, I've been there a number of times. I had an aunt and uncle that lived in Fort Myers, and I used to visit them quite a bit and go. But we've been, I don't think we were. You're right. I think we missed it because I think they're closed on Mondays or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, we
Ding
kept
Darling
trying.
is
I've
nice.
got a customer down in Sanibel, so when I get down there, he takes me around. But Ding Darling was closed the last 2 times we went down there. So we went to other spots that worked because he could
Well,
get
we-
us on the island and we could get on the beaches a little easier.
All right. Anybody
All right.
else have any questions? Great presentation, Jeff.
Thank
And
you.
Jeff, I think you got some of my tips in PDF.
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, I'll send out. I was gonna do it this afternoon, and I sent it out before I remembered to attach it. But I have a PDF of Ken had a bunch of tips. I'll get that dropped in the email that out probably tomorrow to everybody. So
Thank you.
And just to keep in mind that post-processing photo is going to be in November, so we're looking for volunteers, maybe next month, think about it.
Ah.
And get your images to Jeff by the October 5th meeting for our image review. And Joe, I will talk to you about the new members, and between you and I and Jeff, we'll get a master list of membership
Sounds good.
together.
Thank you.
Okay.
yes, send me the new member or the potential new member
Yeah.
email, and I'll put them into my batch of stuff.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, I think we've covered quite a bit this evening. Very good one.
Yes, we have.
Without a doubt. I think it's going to be a pretty good year. We got a lot of topics we're going to be covering. I think as we get closer to December, then we're going to have to look at the balance of the year and who's going to be doing what presentations and hot topics, and we'll get to those as we get there.
Yep. Well, we do have Marty Welter
Yeah.
for January
Uh-huh.
for rodeo photography, and Lewis Kelter. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Wait, it's in the newsletter.
Yeah, for February, right? I think it's February.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember.
yeah, we also got somebody for March already.
Yeah.
So we're just
Louis-
looking for a speaker
Louis
for April.
Katz for March, yeah.
Okay, yeah, for March. Who did we
Okay.
have for February? Didn't we?
Let's see.
I don't have that list. with
Okay,
me.
I gotta look that list because I got a couple emails out to a couple people that we're working on. If I can talk this one gal into dropping her price, her fee was $250. I'm trying to see if I can get her to cut it in half.
You sweet talker, you.
Yeah, I'm trying, but she's a younger photographer, and she's looking to talk to camera clubs. I might even, Ken, should I see if Jason Odell would want to talk to our group, even though we're using him for our March seminar?
Yeah, if he's willing to do it, Jeff, and
He's $100 for an hour, so he would fit our price range. and he'd be a good speaker for us. I will check with him, see if
All
I
right.
can work that out too. But we got a couple of good possibilities for this following year with speakers, so
Okay.
And
should be a good club year.
Yeah, without a doubt. I just want to reiterate that if we missed anything, check or keep your newsletter. There's so much good information in there about what's going on. And Ellen, I just can't thank you enough for the effort you put into that.
you're welcome.
All right. Well, it's past our closing time. So is there anything else anybody wants to chat about? You got a couple of minutes. If not, thank you for being here.
Yep, and you can watch this show on YouTube. It gets posted on the website, so if you want to rewatch parts of it, you can. So we do play it on YouTube, so.
All right.
See a bunch
Okay.
of you on Saturday.
All right.
Yeah, see you Saturday.
Without a doubt.
Yep,
Good night, all.
Good night.
good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good night.